Hello everybody, how are you all doing? Welcome back to Man City Unplugged, your very own Man City fan channel. I knew that after that Champions League exit, it still stings, but after that Champions League exit, we will be linked to multiple players. But this thing came out of the blue. I never expected that we would be linked to him. No credible source until now. No tier 1 journalist, even no tier 2. There were no reports at all linking Pogba to us before. But yesterday night, there were multiple sources, Daily Mail, there were the Times, the Sun, there were tier 1 journalists who are very good with City. All of them stating that Pep Guardiola is really interested in signing Paul Pogba. And the fact that they can snap him up on a free transfer is seen as a very good incentive for City. Yes, they will have to pay a huge signing on fee, but also reports stating that Paul Pogba himself is interested in working with Pep Guardiola because his career has sort of stalled at Man United, Juventus, and that's it. For the last 3-4 years there's been nothing in his career. So Paul Pogba sees this stint with Pep Guardiola as and something that could really take his career to the next level, that could maybe that he could maybe fulfill the potential that he has. So these are all rumors coming out from different sources at this stage. Of course, nothing is confirmed. But one thing that has struck me is most of the journalists who are very good with City, some of them tier 1 journalists are stating this. And when multiple reports, come out at once from different sources, then definitely there is something there. It's not like something has just been mentioned in the Sun or the Times. No, all of them have this, that City Pep Guardiola is really interested in Paul Pogba. Now let us break down the reports. Let us break down this report into further small details. Now the report also states that Pep Guardiola sees Paul Pogba as a deep lying playmaker. Now we'll have to remember, I think it was 2017, round about the time when we did the Centurion season. You should remember that Pep Guardiola was interested in a certain Jorginho, and the reason being that he could dictate play from deep. Especially, people said that the ability of Jorginho to play those wonderful through balls from the deep, something Pirlo-esque. That is what really fascinated Pep Guardiola. People around Pep said that Jorginho could close his eyes and pick out a pass from the deep, huge through balls, and that would really mean that teams will now be teams will now be fearful of pressing City, because there could be someone who could just hit a great pass from the deep, and the runners could be through. So Pep sees Paul Pogba as somewhat even an upgrade on Jorginho, because Pogba can do. Pogba can do things. Pogba can do even more better things than Jorginho in terms of creativity, in terms of his awareness of the play and all. So I think that is the reason why Pep really wants Paul Pogba. I can see that. But for me, another concern is, what about Jack Grealish? If you see that, okay, Grealish is playing in the front line, but when Grealish was signed, Pep generally saw him as a number 8 who is very strong in running with the ball, a box-to-box midfielder, basically someone like a Bernardo Silva. I think Pep also sees Pogba in that role, box-to-box, running with the ball, dictating play, and being very strong and stuff. But one thing I don't understand here is the disciplinary issues and things, and that record of Paul Pogba in the past. Will he fit in with the City team? Now, if you look at the City team, all of the players are sort of in that Pep Guardiola ilk, they're like a bit down to earth. You don't see anyone, being overly expressive on the social media and stuff like that. They go about doing their job. They're all, if you give Pep a chance to prepare a team in the laboratory, he would prepare players with the qualities that we have at City right now. So I think, how does Pep Guardiola sort of stands out and is an anomaly in all of that? Paul Pogba, we know that he's a bit outward, he's a bit, yes, he's a bit in your face, yes. this is me, this is how I play, that kind of a player. He's a real character, and we have seen Pep Guardiola having issues with these kind of players. It's not that having that attitude is bad. It's good sometimes, it really helps in tense moments, in big games, like the Champions League night we have seen against Real Madrid. So I think maybe Pep Guardiola, people say that Pep Guardiola has evolved, is not the same like he was at Barcelona, or not even the same like he was at the earlier in City, having those issues with Yaya Toure and stuff. So is it just a change in a bit of mentality of Pep? Is Pep thinking, I need to have that kind of a player as well in my team just to mix it up? Is it what Pep is thinking? I don't know. I don't have an answer to this. But Paul Pogba, it's very interesting because this match, however you see it, it's just heading north, which means that it I mean, however way you observe it, it somehow seems that it is destined to fail rather than succeed, depending on what has happened in the past. Zlatan Abramovich, Yaya Toure, even a little bit of Sergio Aguero. So these are the kind of players Pep in the past did not quite like, but people evolve with time. Pep has certainly evolved with time. We have seen. I mean, I was just thinking about that Real Madrid game in the semi-final, and I was thinking Pep of the past would not have lost that, because Pep of the past would have just left the attackers on. But in that game, strangely, Pep removed Jesus, Riyad Mahrez as well, Kevin De Bruyne. So there was no outball for City. But enough of talking about that defeat. I mean, there are other players as well. Fabrizio Romano has stated that, I think it was a week or 2 weeks ago, that City are in the pole position to sign Erling Haaland, and their priority is to snap up Haaland as soon as possible and get into signing a midfielder. They see someone, and they want to bring in a midfielder to replace Fernandinho. But there's another thing, they're not bringing in a strict CDM, they're bringing in a box-to-box player. So the other players they've been linked to are Matheus Nunes and Frankie de Jong, and honestly both of those players are a box-to-box. They can't be a DM on their own. They're almost like a Gundogan ilk kind of players. They know how to defend. Even a Bernardo Silva ilk kind of players. They're technically absolutely great on the ball, and their work rate, they have a great engine, they know how to defend. They can't they're not a DM on their own like a Rodri. I suspect that Pep wants to groom Romeo Lavia for that role of Rodri. So Romeo Lavia will be a backup to Rodri for next season, and Pep wants someone in that box-to-box role to replace Fernandinho. And also Gundogan maybe. People were telling that this might be Gundogan's next season might be his last season where he could play at a really high level because of his back issues and stuff. So Pogba is an interesting thing, but looking at it just from an outsider perspective, midfield three of Rodri, De Bruyne, Pogba. Wow, that would just be, or in some games you could say midfield three of Pogba, Bernardo, and Kevin De Bruyne, with Bernardo just maybe sitting back or something, or even Pogba sitting back or something. Wow, that would just be a delight. I think that would be hands down the most creative midfield the world has ever seen. But for me, I have doubts over this transfer, especially with the attitude and stuff issues that Pogba has had in the past at United, being vocal and stuff. But then again, you have to remember his time at Juventus. He was surrounded by people like Pirlo and all, and he didn't have those kind of issues at all. Maybe the lack of a strong leadership at United is what has caused Paul Pogba to be what we are seeing him as at United. Maybe the presence of Pep Guardiola, the presence of Kevin De Bruyne, the presence of other senior players over there, maybe playing in a team that really has that hunger for success, that is competing at the higher levels, being there in the semi-finals and finals of the Champions League year in year out. I think that might just bring that thing out in Paul Pogba. Now, people might even say work rate. Where is the work rate, Mohan, for Paul Pogba? I mean, that will be another issue, but then we do not know. much about the real fitness levels of someone like a Paul Pogba actually, because at United it's not actually been that style for long. So Pep Guardiola can instill that in you to work more, press more, that sense of discipline, that sense of awareness of space and stuff. And also I think now he's 29, so this will be the last big move for Paul Pogba, and Paul Pogba would be thinking that 29, I'll go to, I mean, other offers are from PSG. The other big offer is said to be from PSG. I go to PSG. The team there is disoriented. I do not know when they will win the Champions League or not. And the managerial situation is, I mean, Pochettino is going to be sacked. It's a bit unstable. The French league, well, I can't grow much in there. So if Paul Pogba it depends. If Paul Pogba really wants to grow and really wants to make sure that all of the talent, all of the potential he has is really put out there, it's really utilized to the maximum extent. I think there's no other better option than coming to City, and also in a way. I would say that Paul Pogba coming here, our youngsters also can learn a lot from him. Tommy Doyle, I think, will be back. He's also similar kind of deep lying playmaker and stuff like that. Cole Palmer, James McAtee. There'll be a lot to learn from someone like a Paul Pogba, being there, doing that, and that huge potential. I just can't imagine, seeing Pogba, De Bruyne, and Rodri, or even a Bernardo. It would just be fantastic. Also from set pieces, the delivery. Imagine Riyad Mahrez, Kevin De Bruyne, and Paul Pogba discussing over who will take the set piece. Wow, the long shots of Paul Pogba. Now people just have to worry about the long shots of Kevin De Bruyne, maybe a Riyad Mahrez, but now Paul Pogba will be there. I just do hope that these reports are true. But honestly, if you ask me the answer, I was a little bit more inclined about Matheus Nunes. He's 22, and that's what was the primary name coming up until now, until these reports last night. But Matheus Nunes, but now Paul Pogba. I think I'm just delighted to hear this. Paul Pogba, wow. The range of passing. You have De Bruyne, you have Foden, you have Paul Pogba. How many people can pick a pass? And just imagine the link up. Paul Pogba, Kevin De Bruyne, and Rodri with the front three of Erling Haaland, Julian Alvarez. Wow, Riyad Mahrez, Phil Foden, Jack Grealish will be coming. Wow, potentially, wow. This team can just go to places where you can not even imagine it. Wow. It's such a great news. I'm not too much overly optimistic about it because there are issues of it. But just rejoice, guys, rejoice. Just thinking of that midfield triumvirate with Paul Pogba over there, it will just be fantastic. Anyway, guys, see you all and take care.